Here we've also got a stall with different information and political books and also T-shirts, Green Left Weekly and Socialist Alliance. So if you're interested, you can speak to some of the members here tonight too. If you want to get involved, join up, you're very welcome to do so. We've also got a donations bucket at the entrance, which we then will sort of move around, and the donations bucket is for First Nations Liberation, the group that's co-hosting this event tonight. So what I would like to do now, I want to, before we show the movie, introduce you to Robbie Thorpe. Robbie Thorpe is a long-term Indigenous activist here in Melbourne, and he's a member of First Nation Liberation. He's going to say a few words.
I'd like to acknowledge the true sovereigns of this land, the caretakers and the custodians. That's the Kulin people, the many tribes and clans that inhabited this area long before this land was invaded. We want to talk to you a little bit after you've watched this film, because hopefully this film will impact you like it has a lot of people in this country already. But not just this film. John Pilger is an internationally recognised journalist. Not really well liked in this country. He lives overseas. He's an Australian-born man. He also made a documentary called Secret Country. Some people might be familiar with that. Secret Country? Yep. And that was a very powerful film too, made in the 80s. But hopefully, after you watch this, it may change your perceptions of this country a little bit, hopefully. And try to understand a little bit why Aboriginal people talking about that. We've never ceded our sovereignty in this land. There's no consent to occupy it or apply colonial law here. So it's still unresolved fundamental legal issues that need to be resolved. And those things are the underlying causes for the misery of Aboriginal people in this country and the ecocide. And, because customary law has been disrespected and not recognised at all in this country, we've got things like ecocide occurring now. And in particular, this state here, it's got the worst carbon footprint on the face of the earth for the population size. It's also got the worst rate of mammal extinction on the planet in the shortest space of time. Good old Victoria, the first state to constitute on the basis of terra nullius. The first state. This is the premier state. Also, the White Australia policy emanated out of here. Exhibition buildings, first parliament. Anyway, I'm going to let you watch this movie, and we'd like to have a bit of a yarn after. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robbie. Because we're going to now get the movie set up. If there is little hiccups, please don't get here. You wasn't a blood bunch as part of a community program. So we've got these activists up here. Feel free to ask them questions, make comments. Is there anybody who'd like to ask a question? Or would you just want to hear a little bit from them? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Yes. Just ask.
I've got a question.
You've got a question?
I've got 17 students. I'm in an alternate school. I've got 17 students and 5 Corey. Where do you want me to start? What do you want me to say? How should we open? I want to get the film. But what do you want me to say to the kids?
What are you teaching all the kids?
Okay.
What do you teach all the kids about the history of this country?
A lot more than other teachers, which is why I'm here. But, please tell me what's important at the moment to tell the kids.
Well, I'd have to know who those kids are. Where are they from? Are they from Victoria or are they...
Yeah, it's in Victoria, in the west.
Western districts or western suburbs?
Western districts, western suburbs.
Well, I'll be making sure that the history of their people is told in that school. All the schools in this country should know about the history of where these schools are located. So that's one thing I'd be pointing out.
I'm trying to tap into the elders at the moment to come and talk, yeah?
And where's the language? Is there language in your school? Is there promotion of that? What's the libraries like in your school? totally bereft of any real history.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you've got to start.
Thank you.
Yeah, I suppose as an educator, I feel we teach our kids, you teach your kids to think, not what to think, and just, tell the truth when you see lies. Yeah, what else to say? This is sort of stuff, that people have been talking about for a long time. This isn't... show them this movie.
I am.
You share it. This is what we need to do. It's about information.
Yeah.
We've been 200 years kept in the dark. We know this stuff.
200 years in dark, you can't get a microphone.
Yes.
And I don't want to start on you in respect of their history with Aboriginal people, but they're not the only ones. Australia is a chronically racist society. This is a clear example of genocide. Secret country was that as well. What else do you need to know about the crimes against humanity in this country, which it's based on? This country is built on acts of terrorism, sustained policies of genocide, generations in detention our people spent. These mission stations are concentration camps of Aboriginal people. We spent generations in there. No one gave a damn. It's all about resource theft, as you can see. The Northern Territory intervention, the invasion of this country. Where would England be if they hadn't invaded this country 200 years ago? So it's all about that. When these invaders get desperate, because there was an economic crisis in 2006, when Howard was on his way out, so they decided to sacrifice the Aboriginal people once again. Attacked our self-determination, our homelands movement and our land rights in the Northern Territory. So that saved Australia's sorry ass from the economic financial crisis, global one at that time. That's what they do. We're expendable in this country, and all this wealth that these people talk about in this country was stolen from our people. We paid for all this crap. And look how we're faring in this place. This is a premeditated criminal act of genocide. How do you feel about living in a land where genocide is not a crime? Australians are delusional in terms of assuming that they've got a superior law than our people. This is a bastion of white supremacy.
Up, please.
I just want to say that I actually want to cry that you've said that, because I don't know, we all have a different experience, and you feel it in a song, and every time you go into institutions, you get fired, or you kind of just feel it. It's like it's silencing, and for you to say that right now is just so liberating and so spiritual. And I just hope that you are able to do that in other public spaces. And I know that maybe in the media or in governments they'll probably guide you too.
Well, thank you. And that's one of the reasons why we have to talk about liberation for our people. We don't want anything other than that. We don't need colonisers to be determining what our lives are about. This is an invaded land. That's the reality of it. So the last thing we need is white man's law. It's well known that we're probably the oldest known socially organised society on the face of the earth, oldest known culture, quite capable of looking after ourselves. We have a sustainable law. What has the white man done in 200 years? Has he got a sustainable law here? You're hemorrhaging in terms of the environment.
And depression and anxiety is like mental health,
The crime against our humanity is not fully understood. The dimension of it, or the magnitude of the crime committed here. You know what I mean? And I'll let Viv talk, because she's going to explain what we're talking about in terms of FNL, First Nations Liberation. We want non-Aboriginal people to support us. And this is the legal foundation of this country are dodgy, right? It's not terra nullius. There are people here. We've already got a law. And when you go to someone else's country, you're required to step through their customs. Otherwise, you're feral and you don't belong here. You're not our authorities. This has got to be realised. And people in this country have got to stand up to this illegal, racist, colonial regime. We need to be tearing down the symbols of colonialism. Like the rest of the world are doing. You know, this country never decolonised, never had a treaty. It's disgusting, it's vile, it's demonic. What are we going to do about it? Don't stand up. Well, if you don't fight, you lose. And they're going to tear this land apart. That's what it's really about. They don't care what colour you are. It's not really about black and white. It's about stealing the resources and oppressing them. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, or whether you're a child. Have a look at Australia's record in terms of the United Nations conventions. Women, the Convention on Women, Convention on Children, refugees, race discrimination and genocide. Yet, this country can be the chair of the United Nations Security Council. How do you figure this? Get ready, people. We've got to rise up now and get behind us, because we've got just cause here. We can liberate you and we can justify your action. Nobody else can do that. Anyway.
We'll get Viv to also give you a bit of an explanation, and then maybe Mick also just say a few words about their campaign that they did up in Parliament.
I'm really happy, you know, that movie makes you cry. Because I'm sick of crying too. I'm sick of looking at this. We've got suicide epidemic where I'm from Kimberley. This mining, this cancer that is taking over, it's killing us. So you need to see that. I'm glad you need to be upset. This needs to be put out there and you need to take it out. So we've decided here that there are a few of us that try and speak when we can and try and highlight this hypocrisy and this madness. So we struggle because we've got no resources. We don't even have space we can organise politically. Because we silence through when things are funded by this insanity, they don't want us to speak up. So we've formed a group called First Nation Liberation. And it's a collective of people united by our desire for freedom from this invader system. We're united by understandings of the spirit of our times and our goal of freeing the first people from our colonial masters and in turn freeing all people from its clutches. This system, its very existence depends upon the destruction of Indigenous culture and people the world over. And FNL aims to be a part of creating the world we want to see. Our aim is to find space, an information and education hub within the Collingwood and Fitzroy area. This is a significant area in the history of black struggle. It will be funded entirely by the conscientious wider community. We are seeking financial supporters to contribute to and maintain this space. We intend on having things like regular workshops and screenings to educate and inspire action. Feed locals, somewhere with internet access, music, art and cultural space, media hub, DVDs, books, and a place to organise campaigns, like I said, in a true self-determined space. It'll be directed by First Peoples. It will be supported by non-Indigenous people who are willing to share time, resources, skills and money. So that's what we're trying to work, what we're working on at the moment with probably a dozen of us at the moment. So we're going to start putting, call out for people to support us that way. Because it's ridiculous. It's beyond a joke, and I wouldn't have. And I feel like I send my kids to the wars every day. I've got 4 sons. I can't go anywhere till at least attempt to fix this. And same for all of you. That our freedom is linked with yours, with all of ours. So please, I just implore people to just continue to seek truth. Don't think that this is it, that, there's more. It goes. Seek it. Because, we desperately need to understand what's going on here, not just here, but globally. We need to really get our heads around what this tangle web we've woven, We need to dissect it, examine it, and then work out how we escape it and evolve, because I think we've got all the information we need for everyone to be housed and fed and looked after, for everybody. But we've got these controlling mechanisms, this system that is not compatible with life, this crazy fucking system that you perpetuate every 4 years, go on a vote, think it's going to change something. That's crazy shit. When are you going to learn something here? The thinking it took to get us in this mess it's not going to be the same thinking that's going to get us out of it. So we need to step out the box. Stop believing in this system. And, I think outside it and organise and find people who think the same. And then, create a world that we want to see, I suppose, and fight. And just seek it and spread it.
Says you work as a member of the ANW and also Socialist Alliance, and you spend some time out in the community, and it's a bit of an example how solidarity can work.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
Even though you know what's going on, to see it condensed in the Pilger program was very confronting. One of the things that I've always felt inside me is that I don't know how to say, the First Nation or traditional owners need, I don't know how to solve it or anything like that, but I just think that Australia needs to give a certain percentage of the gross national product to just go to the First Nation. And so then First Nation can determine their own life.
Why don't we just strip Jane Reinhardt, that spawner Langley, strip her well. No rent.
Make her pay for tax.
Australia's a criminal society built on lies, deceit, fraud, propaganda, indoctrination. It's criminal. People are obliged to get up and do something about it. At the end of the day, do the criminals determine what the outcomes are? Australia should be some sort of Nuremberg trials here to resolve the unresolved issues of genocide, the premeditated criminal genocide. Why don't the people recognise the law of the land that they live in? The only Commonwealth country without a treaty, which is a peacemaking instrument of international law, which will give you a proper legal foundation, Australia's got one. It's the only Commonwealth country. There are 76 countries around the globe. This one, continent, 600 black nations on it. This hasn't got a treaty. It means there's no peace. There's no nuclear war going on. That's why the stats are like that of Aboriginal people. The highest incarceration rate in the world. The morbidity rates are a disgrace. In fact, Australia is just one big human rights disgrace. And it's not up to them, a percentage of the gross national product. That all belongs to our people. Every red cent of it. It's a stolen wealth. Where did the white man get this wealth from? Don't belong to him. What they need to do is have a treaty. And then the carve up happens there, right? There's got to be recognition of our precedent law. There needs to be what I think should happen should be 240 years back rent, compounding interest, damages and a war crimes commission, and sign on the bottom line that these sorts of crimes against humanity should never happen again. Now they've already done that in 1949, but Australia never legislated against the crime of genocide. 1949. So they went on to commit these crimes, create the conditions of life, steal our children. Everything gets defined as genocide as far as that convention is concerned. Australia's guilty of it, there's no doubt about it. So where's this crime? This is how we'll determine the outcomes at the end of the day. Because that's what happens to the criminals. You know, it manifested in a convict penal colony, didn't it? An illegal occupation, terror, a legal fiction, a shameful racist act, a genocidal racist act. This is what the basis of occupation is.
More questions or comments? Anybody else? I'm not saying I'm not going to take you, but if there's somebody else, I'll get Shirley and then ask you.